Alright, this part of the video we're going to go over the front kick. So what you do in the front kick is you open up your horse halfway, okay? Put all your weight on one leg, lift your knee up, kick out with your heel, okay? Onto center line. So you kick with your heel on the center line. You can do it one leg at a time, or you can alternate. But it's important to flex your foot back. So you really want to have that flexion on your foot so that you're striking with the heel of your foot, okay? So off to the side. When you're doing conditioning, you can either keep your fist chambered, which is actually the best way to do it because it's the best conditioning for your body, or you can put your hands out in a jog style position. But you should always do it like this at first, just so you're training your muscles, because this is a very important position. There's actually a lot of details within this position that you should study. Just holding it, even just sitting in your horse like this. This is actually a really good workout, really good Kung Fu workout. So you should try to hold your fist in proper chambered position as much as possible. But if you're doing a long training cycle, if you're doing 1,000 kicks, you might eventually get too tired to hold a good position. And that's when you know you need to take a break. That's another thing that we should go over in terms of working out on your own, but also working out in class. If you need a break, then you take a break. Sometimes you might need to sit down. Sometimes you might just need to shake out your shoulders real quick. You can do windmills with your arms, just let your arms flap back and forth. This actually helps to loosen up your shoulders quite a bit, but you really gotta just relax your body and let your arms just, go from side to side. But the point is that it's good to take breaks, but it's good to take breaks when it's needed, not just when you're feeling a little lazy or whatever. And the way you know you need a break is because your technique starts to suffer. Now you may not recognize this in the beginning, but as you train more, you'll start to see and you'll notice when your technique is not quite what it usually is or what it should be. Because you'll be able to intellectualize it before you'll be able to see it actually out in your body. So keep that in mind when you're training in class, also when you're training on your own. Technique is the most important. So anytime your technique is not proper or is suffering, then that's when you know you need to take probably just a shakeout break. Sometimes you might need to take a sit down break, but be careful with the sit down breaks because there's a fine balance, because you don't want to sit down too much. You just want to sit down enough to where you kind of feel that energy kick back up, or you feel that tiredness go out of your body, and then get back up and get back into it, because you don't want to lose the flow of that energy, okay? It's actually more important than you might think. But anyways, so we were talking about the kick, the front kick. So this is the front kick. You're kicking out with your heel on center line. See how my foot is flexed backwards. That's what you want to do. You want to flex it back as much as possible, okay? So you can do front kicks like this. You can also do something called reflex kicks, where you're just sitting with your knee up and you're just flicking your foot out. With reflex kicks, you don't kick with your heel. You're not really kicking. You're just flexing your leg out. okay? So you're just hanging your ankle kind of limp and loose and just flicking your foot out, okay? You could do, like I was mentioning earlier, you can do the kicks either way, either one at a time, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, or you can alternate them. So either way you want to do them. Now the drill that you should be on now, you should be working on is Pak Dar, right? So that's where you're pocketing with one hand. You've already worked on Pak Sao, right? And getting pretty good at that. So now you're working on Pak Dar. So with Pak Dar, what you want to do, you know in Pak Sao you're pressing the hands, you're trying to occupy center line. So you're trying to contain that center line. And in Pak Sao, another good point, is to try to keep your fingers as vertical as possible. Okay, so even out here it's gonna be easier. So right here, this is your Wu Sao hand in Pak Sao. So right here, the fingers should technically be pointing to the ceiling behind your head. Right, and then this should be as vertical as possible out here, this hand. So this pocketing hand should be as vertical as possible. You're really pocketing with this part of your palm. You might come into more of the middle part depending on the person's energy, but you want to really aim for kind of this part of the palm. Because Pak is not just a block, it could also be an offensive move. We can go over that more later, but so you know Pak Sao, you're sitting in a good horse, you're being relaxed, you're paying attention to the other person's hand, you might have done some sensitivity Pak Sao, which is really good to do, but now we're on Pak Dar. So with Pak Dar, the difference is, Pak Sao you're just occupying center line, right? So here's the center line, I'm occupying it, you can just imagine someone's fist right here, and you're pocketing behind the wrist, all right? So with Pak Dar, what you have to do is actually, because everything wants to be on center line, right? That's one of the principles of Wing Chun. So with Pak Dar, you have two hands on center line. So what you have to do is you have to actually move your Pak a little bit further out, a little bit past center line, like on the edge of center line, so that you can fit your fist on center line. Because really, the strike is the most important on center line. Because once you occupy that center line, you're defending it, your center line is defended, that's fine. Now you want to attack on center line. So you want to Pak Dar. Right? And you might, in a practical application, we practice it out here, right? Because this is the optimum distance right here. This distance out here is the best distance to be at. You're not too closed in, you're not too far extended out to where they have more control. So you're right in that kind of sweet spot, okay? And so you want your fist to be more on center line. You want to punch out on center line with your Pak Dar. So you have to move their fist a little bit off center line so that your fist can actually fit in on center line. Now in a practical application, it might be stepping forward and then your kind of Pak comes out, but then kind of traces the other hand, the opponent's hand back. So that's kind of like following it back. So it's kind of moving it out of the way so that your fist can get through. Because it might go like that as opposed to out here. But training this movement here teaches you how to do that movement instinctively. You don't even have to practice that movement. You'll just do it instinctively. So it's important to do these drills over and over and over, which you will be doing. So sit in a good horse, play your Pak Dar, and on your own, what you can do is the best way to do it, to condition it, is to go from a chambered position to the Pak Dar and alternate the hands. That develops your coordination. Okay.